Hello everyone, I'm super excited to record this video today as we are going to talk about really interesting topic. It's not really usual for me to talk about expansion to other markets, even though this is one of our bread and butters here at Strongest Group. But as you have noticed, we are going to talk about how we can actually break into Europe as the market. And this video will be really useful for both companies which are working just at one local market in Europe and they want to kind of conquer the whole Europe, but also companies from US or maybe Australia looking to get clients from Europe and they might be struggling with it. And I'm going to explain you how to do it the proper way based on our experience working with 20 plus tech and SaaS companies. And so let's begin with the facts. Europe is not just one market, it's 30 plus different ones. I believe right now we have 44 countries in Europe if the data is correct. And as you can see, it leads to a lot of different nuances. The first one is that we have 30 plus jurisdictions with different legal frameworks, meaning that in some countries you could go and send cold emails easily, you can book meetings and everything works fine. In some countries it's pretty much illegal, and if you send even one cold email you can get a fine worth up to 15k USD, which is ridiculous, and I'll explain to you how it works properly. Then we have 24 official languages in European Union, and it all matters for reply rates, trust me. And the last one is that there is 5x gap between the best and worst European markets for B2B SaaS. This is also quite a big difference which you need to take into consideration when you decide on which market or which country you want to attack first. And where to start? This is a good question. This is purely based on our experience. And we saw the easiest wins in, first of all, Baltics and Scandinavia. So I'm talking about Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark. Those are really fast growing economies. You can really get a lot of clients in just like 4 to 6 months. Really good to break into those markets. All of them speak really strong English. They are open and they have pretty direct culture. For example, in Finland, when you hop on a call with someone, you don't usually do small talk. People just love going straight into business, which is really good. Then we have UK, Ireland, Poland, and Czech Republic. Those are also good. They have a bigger TAM, but I would rather contact them later. For some of those countries, you really need to have a local people who speak the language, especially for Poland, even though a lot of people right now and a lot of companies are trying to go international, so English is kind of requirement, but I would still say it's better if you're able to contact in local language. Then we have Germany, France, Belgium, Austria, C tier, really not good, strong, I would say, compliant, longer cycles, and a lot of relationship building is required in order for you to break into market. So word of mouth works really well there. I would say it's even in a way a crucial step, but yeah, you could do this later, but definitely not as your primary target. And then what I would skip until red is Italy, Spain, Portugal, Greece. First of all, they're not really receptive to English, which might be hard for you again. They have really I would say low B2B SaaS conversion and really like language complexity, as I mentioned, and some of those markets are really not growing that well. So selling to those would be much harder than finding someone from Scandinavia who would be able to pay for your solution. So this is when it comes to tier list of European countries. And also what is important is language. I already started mentioning that. So the first lesson, if you want to break into European market, is to be able to execute in native language. This is super important. We had one client who was sending messages in English to UK, Spain, and Poland. It was identical copy, zero localization, and as you can imagine, the copy only worked pretty alright in UK, but in Spain and Poland it failed completely. It flopped just because of the language. As I said, it's a super important thing. You want to send emails, you want to do cold calling, you want to send LinkedIn, preferably also in native language. And after, when we started to execute in native languages, meaning to Spain, we contacted we sent the emails in Spanish. To Poland, we sent emails in Polish. We implemented our native cold callers. The reply rates and conversion rates suddenly skyrocketed because people felt really familiar with the language. They were like, okay, cool. Those are local guys. They know their stuff. It might be interesting for us to catch up. And also our people, the native people, they know there's some cultural cues that match the market. Even if you know the language, I myself speak 5 or 6 languages, but I cannot say confidently that I know the culture of every single country, which language I speak pretty much. So it's really important to have local people. They know how to convert those better, especially when you do cold calling. Also, some of the tips for you, for Baltics, for example, they really like to be direct, no BS outreach wins, so straight to the point. With Nordics, I would say it's pretty much the same. They also love logic, value first. They don't like being hard sold, as pretty much everyone else, but still, they also like directness. For Central Europe, it's important to have a balance of direct and relational, I would say. So for Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, sometimes you want to put some, I don't know, even slang, I would say. It works really well to kind of make them feel also comfortable with what you're selling. And for Western Europe, it's a lot of relationship building, longer cycles. So do not expect to kind of be able to sell them straight away. Rather focus on delivering lots of value up front. Try to get in touch with a lot of people from the same company. And that's sort of your best bet, your best chance to close them as the client. Also, why Nordics and Baltics are S tier? There are 5 reasons why we really prioritize those at strongest group. First of all, those are growing economies. So there is a strong B2B SaaS demand and budgets. There are a lot of VCs every single month investing millions of USD into really promising companies, not only in AI, but also some other, I would say, industries, though AI is, of course, the core of business world in Nordics and Baltics. They are super open to using new tools. They definitely want to test out new approaches, new ways of doing things. They're not interested in just maintaining. They also have really strong English skills, especially in Nordics. So you can really do hybrid. Local plus English plays works really well. So local language for those is not really like 100% must, even though it would help you a lot. Also, they have less saturated inboxes, and people tend to read cold emails there much more often than in any other markets like UK, US. US is a different story, but even like, for example, Ireland or Spain, etc. And also they have a really faster decision cycles because they have flat hierarchies. There is less procurement, even though it seems like EU is really strongly regulated with all of the laws, but you would be surprised for those countries specifically. It's quite often that one person can just make the decision. He has the decision-making power, and you would be surprised how quickly and on the spot you could close the deals there. And also what is important for some of the markets, as I mentioned, it works completely different with cold email. So Europe doesn't operate under one cold email law. In each country, they have their own, let's say, rules when it comes to cold email. Germany, France, Spain, I would say, are the most regulated. So if you send cold email to the wrong country, you could get some heavy fines, as I mentioned. And also your domain could get blacklisted across all of the Europe. You would be considered spammer. So whenever you reach out to someone from Europe, you wouldn't get a reply, even though you're selling something really good. And as you can see, cold email risk by country. Again, Germany is the worst. Same with Denmark, I would say. Do not proceed with those markets at all. Focus on LinkedIn and cold calling, or use some warm intros. Never send cold emails there. Same with France, I would say. You definitely need to have an opt-out link there. plus clear identification is required in the email, so people should be able to easily find you online. Italy and Spain are pretty alright. I mean, just make sure you don't send too many emails per person. Focus on like 1-2 follow-ups max, and then reach out in, I don't know, a month or two. And the rest is pretty workable. Netherlands, Nordics, UK, Ireland are okay. Baltics, Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, Romania, all good. So just be aware of France, Germany, Austria, Italy, Spain. The rest are really good. And this would also, I think, help you with prioritizing the correct markets or countries to start with. Then how you send cold emails in Europe without crossing the line. First of all, only send to business emails, never send to Gmails. I would say this is the very core principle and pretty self-explanatory. Second, make sure it's relevant outreach. So do not try to sell, I don't know, money management tool to IT guys. They wouldn't care. So it should be really relevant to their job title. That's important. Take care of it. Then identify yourself clearly. So in the signature, make sure to add the information about your company, your name, your role, website, address. This all creates this legitimacy and helps you avoid those heavy fines. Also, easy opt-out in every email. Make sure you have this thing, a line where you say, I don't know, reply with, I don't know, minus to be opted out from the called emails. And also you can send them confirmation that, hey, I confirm you've been included in our do not contact list. Also, privacy policy linked, footer linked to how you process their data. This might be really interesting to add, especially if you're going to those semi-regulated markets like Italy and Spain. And also document your reasoning. So in the cold emails you write, make sure the first two lines include some sort of observation which sort of justify the reason why you are reaching out to them. So either you found some information on their website or on LinkedIn. So the cold email you send to them should be justified in a way. I hope it makes sense. Then, of course, the best way to go around this expansion, I would say, start with 1-2 markets first and master them and then expand. So build infrastructure for those 2 markets which you want to go, dominate them first, then you can layer out some additional markets, right? And compound learnings over time. Don't just go to all of the Europe. Do not like just do English campaigns to every single one, because you won't get traction as much as you could with the localized approach, and you would just honestly burn budget chasing volume. So just focus on 2 markets. Go for, I don't know, Sweden and Poland. Don't go to Sweden, Poland, Germany, Lithuania, Bulgaria, and Greece, for example. So make sure you take 2 markets, you dry them out first, then you can move on. So also one important thing about localization is not just translation. Of course, it's language. This is important, but it's also about tone. Do people prefer formal emails or like some casual ones? Proof points. This is having like local case studies, local logos or currencies. It also makes sense, trust me, even though for European Union, a lot of countries are using euros. For some of those, having, for example, Polish zloty or Swedish kroner is really important. Then, of course, timing. There are 3 or 4 time zones in Europe. Make sure you respect those, same as holiday calendars. And also domains, I would recommend for some of those using like local domains. Again, this could work really well because they would see you as a local player and trust you more. So those are really important. And also, how would you pick your first 2 markets? I would say go for those 3 filters. First of all, existing customer footprint. If you already have a couple of customers from specific country, this would be a no-brainer for you to use them as proof points and reference logos and just try to push with those. Like, hey, we helped a similar company located in Sweden. We could help you too. Would you be interested? Something like that. Also, market openness and compliance fit. I would say Nordics, Baltics, Eastern Europe work really well. So they are less, let's say, GDPR aware. So just go for it. And also operational capacity. Could you source native copywriters, native callers for those markets or not? Could you do it easily? That's also really important. Hiring for local markets is also maybe the topic for another video. And also maybe other tips for you, how teams flop in Europe. Just to kind of sum up, first, they treat Europe as one market. That's not correct. This is a set of 30 plus, 40 plus markets. Second one, sending English everywhere. The reply rates are going to collapse across multiple countries. So make sure you use local language where it's possible. Then cold emailing Germany without consent, same with Denmark. Just don't do it, you'll get fines. It's really unpleasant situation. The next one is launching in 5 to 8 countries at once. Don't do that, focus on 2 markets, dry them out, get as many clients as possible from 2 markets, then move on. And then starting in Western Europe, I would say it's optional, but they are the most saturated and you would definitely experience the most amount of problems there. And the last one is keeping cultural nuance. Make sure to understand what is required in each market, in each country, which style of messaging and sort of approach. So this is how you are able to conquer Europe, if you make sure you don't make mistakes which are listed here. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Was it really useful? Because I'm experimenting with a couple of video formats right now. And I think talking about more strategic stuff is also something I would like to tap into, as we are getting a lot of experience scaling companies across Europe. And also, if you want to kind of see what's our playbook for scaling B2B companies in Europe, make sure to book a call in the link below this video in the description, so I can explain to you how we are doing this, what are the best practices, and let's see if we can find a way to work together, or worst case scenario, you'll just go with some practical info on how you can take your company across each and single European country. So yeah, that's it for today. Hope it was valuable, and as always, let me know if you have any questions, and see you in the next one. Ciao.